Imagine around you, the walls or wherever you are in a building, inside that infrastructure or inside a LAN network is a range of cables. And we have a pre-fit out stage, someone that would be fitting these cables, and well done to all those installers and technicians out there which are involved in that. So let me just get a look. So this person here is installing the system at the moment, and you can imagine that's quite dirty. As they bring in their cable, there'll be lots of dust and debris and other services operating at that time. So we have a challenge. As we're installing, we need to be quick. We need to manage a series of cables and get them to place quickly. So typically we'd always recommend a verification device. So a verifier device is at this stage. So see how I'm trying to tie a terminology to that stage. So verifying, well, what is that? Really, you can imagine it's a piece of cable. So we're going to talk about having a look at just getting a piece of cable in place. I'm just going to hold this up now. I'm just wondering if we can just get a close up on that, Lee. Yeah, I'm just going to hold a piece of cable here. Now let's just have a look at what the verification stage would be. So we have our pairs inside our cable, and you can imagine we've got to align these various pairs inside that cable, and then we connectorize it. So verification allows us to join those pairs in a color code of choice, subject to where you are in the world. Different color codes apply, such as A or B wiring schematics. So let me share a little bit more on that. Inside an outlet or inside a connector, let me just, well, if you can just come in a bit closer, I'll show you that we actually wire these pieces of cable up, or these connectors up, and we must get them right. And then we add the connector on the end. So you can imagine there's room to get that wrong. I mentioned pairs. I mentioned this cable with a series of pairs. He's got to go through all these cables, trace them, put them in place quickly and efficiently. You must get your Wiremap right from the start, or the network system will not work at all. So I'm just going to lift up a typical Verifier device, two-piece device, which will do a very simple Wiremap across that. I'd always recommend go for the best verifier you can get. In this case, this one can detect shorts and shielded cabling, distance, as well as it's got other added capabilities we'll look at later. Let's see that in action. So verification is the first point of cable infrastructure, the wiring layout and the components in place. So let's do that. In this case, we've got the PoE Pro on screen for you as an example of a really great verifier which will solve your problems very, very quickly. So what's the first thing to do? We want to check if our wiring is correctly terminated. Okay, so very, very simply, we just connect up a patch cord, okay, and we can immediately see that we would get at least a length from that item under test. Now, note it's got a reflector on the other end. I'm just going to add that reflector. So this is the type of thing you would be expecting to see on a test. So in this case, you can see that it's got 1 to 1, 2 to 2, and it's all lined up nicely. And at the top of the screen, you can see that it's got a pass there. The important thing is that's what you're expecting to see, okay? So if we were to connect that now onto a cable to do a test, let's do that now. And let's connect up the other side. We can see if we've got a connection. Just connecting up the other side now. Right, so here's our length here and our various pairs, and we can see that they're all configured. Now let's introduce a fault. So the best thing about wire mapping and using a verifier is it's ultra quick. Notice how I'm now going to introduce a really tragic break. Here it is on screen with it looks like this has been dragged through or very badly treated, I should say, where the cable's actually been shorted and torn apart. So let's connect that up. And the important thing is always invest in a verifier which will allow you to see shorts. So on screen here, you can see here that it's detected a short. Note, I haven't connected the other end yet. Once I connect the other end, I will get more information. So for quickfire troubleshooting, always invest in a really good verifier just to make sure your wire mapping is intact. So I've connected the other side, and you can see here we've got more information. Of course, at the top of the screen, we can see we've got a fail there. And if we look down here, we can see we've got our short, and we've got the zeros here where the pairs are not connected. So these are the broken pairs. So right now, we've got an overall length, but once I press this, I can now go to distance to fault. So see how my distance has changed to now 6 meters. That's able to show you that along this cable, from the start to the finish to 6 meters, that is the distance to that fault. So once again, these are time-saving recommendations that if you do invest in a verifier, always go for one with a TDR, time distance reflector in there, that you can trace your cables and find a distance of fault, and even better if you can detect shorts like this. The Trend Network series also have these range of products as a solution. This little test can be captured and sent back to my phone in a report and backwards to the cloud as well very, very quickly. So once again, you can capture that as a quick fault if need be. But in the case where you're an installer installing data cables and you need to roll them very, very quickly, you may not choose to report that, but you can solve the problem super fast. So that's verification for you. Once again, component level verification is critical.